Eurovision slogans is just kind of a thing that just kind of have to be there. This slogan really doesn't do it for me, but I feel like there's a lot of slogans that don't really do it for me. I don't think they are such an important part of the show. Yes, they may be important for social media, but I think I talked about it last year as well. If it was up to me, the Eurovision slogan should just go. I feel like they don't really add any value into the branding of it, and I know that it's mainly done. I can't believe it. They actually did it. Today is going to be a bit of a shorter video. I just wanted to touch upon the news we have today. I'm not in my usual setup. I am in my living room as I am currently recovering from a cold, which you might be able to hear on my voice and see on my crusty face. But we'll try to get through this video as quickly as possible and as best as we possibly can, because I wanted to talk about this, because it is actually something that I've mentioned in my videos before. So in case you haven't caught the big Eurovision news of the week, it has been announced this week that from now on, United by Music will be the permanent slogan for the Eurovision Song Contest. So the slogan that we saw this year in Liverpool, it won't only be used in Malmö next year, but it'll be used in the contest going forward. And I gotta say that while I am shocked at this news, this wasn't something that I had in my bingo cards. I didn't think this was going to happen. I have mentioned in my videos, if you've seen my videos where I've talked about the Eurovision logo and slogan, the videos that I've done for the past 2 years, I have mentioned that I felt like the Eurovision slogans were getting a little stale, and that I was hoping, that something would change, and maybe if you weren't really going to put that much effort in a slogan, maybe just not have it. And now countries will no longer have to come up with a silly little slogan, as there will now be an official slogan for the contest. I think honestly it does make a lot of sense, because I think, having the same slogan every year, it's something that definitely builds the brand, and I think it's also a very integral part of what the EBU and the broadcasters want Eurovision to be in this day and age. There's no doubt that times have changed over the last couple of years, and the Eurovision we saw this year in Liverpool with, having it not being hosted in Ukraine because they aren't able to because of the war, it was very much a different Eurovision. You felt it was a different Eurovision, and you felt that this might be something that we'll see again in the future. This might not be the only time where a country isn't able to host for various reasons. Because the world is changing, it has been for a few years, and the idea of the Eurovision Song Contest therefore also changes. It's always been about uniting people through song. It's always been about this idea of bringing countries together. Even countries that have their differences are on the same stage, or out there sending the same message. So I totally get why you would do something like this. You would take the United by Music as an overall brand and show this is what Eurovision is about. It's about, well, uniting people through music. Is it still a very bland, cookie-cutter, fan contest vibe slogan like I mentioned in my video earlier this year? Yes, it very much still is. I think they could have definitely come up with something a little more creative, but at the same time, it very much puts it at more of a blank slate. And I do think you kind of need to do that if you want to do this kind of like, all-encompassing slogan. It has to be something that's very generic. It has to be something that's very bland. I think we'll definitely see it on the logo for the Eurovision in Malmö now that they've made this grand announcement. Of course, they're going to be using it next year as well. But I think as we're moving forward, it'll be less and less that the slogan will actually be used in the contest, in the graphics, and it'll just be a tagline that's there in the background. And I don't think there's anything bad about that, because I think, like I've said in my videos, there does come a point where you've exhausted all of the ideas that you possibly can have for a slogan like this, especially if you want to go for this whole like unification, or something like celebrate diversity that we've had before as well, where it's all about encompassing all of our differences. Like, if you very much want to go down that route all the time, you run out of things in the end. So doing this now makes a lot of sense. I think it also makes a lot of sense from a branding perspective, because it makes it a lot easier if you are using the same slogan every single year. It's the same kind of hashtag you can use. It's something that you can use on your global brandings as well, because now when we have the generic Eurovision branding that we have in between seasons, it'll no longer just be the bland Eurovision logo, but you can actually use the United by Music throughout the off-season branding as well. I think they're going to do that, and I think that's probably a very smart idea from a business perspective. It does put that tagline just below the logo and saying this is what Eurovision is about. This is what we want all of our shows to encompass, no matter where it's going to be held. We don't know if countries might do a spin on it, where they try to use this slogan and maybe modify it a little bit to their own will. We don't know what they will be able to do in the future. We also don't know if this will affect the Junior Eurovision as well. Of course, we have that show coming up very soon with the slogan Heroes, and maybe they want to also encompass the United by Music for that contest, or they might want to pick a different kind of generic slogan that you can use for the junior contest. All these things, obviously, we don't know that yet because it's only just been announced, but it's fun to speculate. I could imagine the idea of using the United by Music brand all over, both for the Eurovision, the Junior Eurovision, and some of the other Eurovision family of events. But it's also different reference groups, it's different steering groups, it's different people in charge of these contests, or not necessarily in charge, because that's the EBU, but it's different people and different broadcasters having the main say in these different contests. So the Junior Eurovision steering group might want to do something different. We don't know, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this will be used going forward. If this will actually be a slogan that's, being used, and that the theme of the show for many years to come will be around this concept of uniting people through music. Or if we will actually see variations of it, or even countries just not really using it in their branding when they get to host. Only time will tell. But I think to sum up my thoughts, and I think people do get that from just seeing this video, I think it's a good idea. Both from a branding perspective, but also just because it means that we won't get another silly slogan that just feels like it was something that had to be made up because you had to have a slogan. Because I've been very critical for the past 2 years of the slogans, and even before that, before I made videos about it, I've been critical about it before. If you take a slogan and really use it in the show, like I feel like Liverpool did this year with United by Music, but also another great example like the All Aboard for Portugal, where the whole sea theme and actually using it in the script and everything. I like when they did that, but there was also years where you had a slogan just to have a slogan, and I've always been very critical about that, and I feel like it's taken some focus away because you have to look at The Sound of Beauty and think, what the fuck does that mean? I was one of those I was very critical about. So I think at least we don't have those situations anymore. But I will miss some of the actual creative slogans that we have had over the years. But that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments. Are you shocked about this news? I would love to keep a little conversation going. I feel like I managed to keep this video pretty short. These were just my current thoughts on this. I might make, a different video, or I might talk about this a little more when we actually get the logo for the contest in Malmö. We'll see. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe for more Neon Pavilion videos, and then I'll hopefully see you guys very soon as I'm done being sick. Take care.